right, here we go. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 3 o'clock, well, a little bit after 3 o'clock, and it is time to rock. Fast Freddie here, coming to you once again live from the Youngstown studio here in downtown Youngstown, the Commerce Building. We got this great studio here in downtown Youngstown, the old Haber's building. Some of the older folks might remember Haber's Furniture used to be in this building, and now it's an office building, and this is where we're doing our show from. I think this is now our 4th week of podcasting, so I'm surprised we made it this far. And with us this afternoon, I got a couple special guests of mine. I got Wayne Webb and Scott Gearheart, and they're from the band Broken Reins. I've known these guys forever. Wayne, Scott, welcome to the show, man. Good to see you guys.
Hi, Mom. And I have to say hi to my wife, too, Lisa.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Oh, it's good to see you guys, man. So what's been going on in the world of Broken Reins? Let's start from there, and then we'll just, we got a lot of time here to feature some of your music, talk about just the old days, talk about what we got coming up. Whatever hits us, that's what we're going to talk about here this afternoon. So,
talk about the old days.
Well,
changing names, protect the innocent.
Right. I think all three of us, we have to be careful what we start talking about here because probably the statute of limitations is not up on some of this stuff. But anyways, why don't you first of all, tell everybody about Broken Reins, give us a little history of the band, who else is in it, and the whole 9 yards.
Well, Broken Reins is now about, 3.5 years old. And it all started with the country scene. It just had grown and grown and grown, and always been a country guy myself. And so we put that band together. It's Craig Pepe, he plays drums, and he played in No Excuse with me, actually. And Jeff Weston's, he plays bass. And Gary Cool plays keyboards, he plays banjo, he plays guitar. We're trying to talk him in, he plays steel guitar.
He does.
I'm trying to get him a fiddle, but he says he's not having it. He says he's drawing a line at the fiddle.
Why does he draw the line at the fiddle?
He says, hey, take me too long to learn it. He says, I'll be dead by the time I learn that.
Okay. I would probably draw the line at the accordion is where I would draw the line,
Probably have some that going too. But, so the band just kind of came together like that. And the funny thing, anyone who's played in a band, or been in a band, or been involved with any kind of project, it's always been really difficult to find two people who are on the same page. In our band, we have 5 people on the same page. So we started the band, went around for a while, and then Scott's been with us about 1.5 years, and he's really, head writer of all our original stuff, and which has been really, especially during this whole COVID thing, and we've been really fortunate because we got to play a lot of campgrounds and that kind of things, and so we've been really lucky. We played more than I ever thought we'd play this summer. But the original thing, the accordions, that's what's really keeping us alive, because coming into fall now, I thought I turned that off.
That's okay.
I can't do it. Every time, I go somewhere, my wife will say, you turn your phone off? I says, yeah. Next thing, it does that. I'm like, what the heck? Am I allowed to say that?
Hey, you can say whatever. Whatever you want to say.
Okay, and I said, what the hell?
Yeah, what the hell?
Damn phone?
Yeah, damn phone. Go ahead. Yeah, cuss it out,
Yeah, but it's a phone's fault, obviously.
Right.
It's one button. Sure, I can work one button. But so Scott came along, we started writing, and when he started really writing, he had a lot of songs, kind of backlogged and things that he's driving around and things just come to his head. He'll call me up and say, hey, Wayne, what do you think of this song? He'll start snapping his fingers, start singing the song. I'm like, wow, how long have you been working on this? It just came to me. I'm like, really?
Now, isn't that the key, though, to being a songwriter? I mean, you just pay attention to what you say and you write it down, because do you write everything down, or do you put it on your phone the minute that one of those ideas hits you for a line or whatever? Do you automatically jot it down so you don't forget it?
I actually don't, Freddie. I figure if I can't remember it, it's not worth writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I never write any of my lyrics down. They're all kind of just in my head. I know that's probably a weird way of doing it. But if I can't remember it the next day, I just figured it wasn't meant to be. But if it's very memorable to me,
right,
then I do remember, And you're right, I'll be in a situation or whatever, or I'll hear you say something, maybe it's a title for a song, and all of a sudden I'm very creative,
Or at least a hook or something.
Exactly.
You go, boy, that was a good line. Or
yes.
You see something on TV, or even if you're out playing or something, you might overhear a conversation and you hear a line or somebody says something to somebody, you go, boy, that would make a good song.
Yeah, a good example is we wrote a song called The Sun Will Shine Again, and the first lyric is called, it says, never give up, never give in. And I was at a delivery, and there was a picture of a frog holding a stork before it got ate, and it just said "never give up."
Right.
You know what I mean? It was getting ready.
Picture,
yeah, and I was like, "Never give up," and then it just started coming to me.
And that was on The Sun Will Rise Again.
Yeah, it's actually the first lyric.
You know what? Why don't we play that song? Let's throw that on, because this is an excellent song and it's an excellent video.
Thank you.
And why don't you explain a little bit? You know, it goes a little bit beyond, you know, the funny meme of the frog getting eaten and choking the stork. Why don't you tell us a little bit about
it does.
this song?
It just sparked the creativity, but the song's actually about suicide prevention. And today is actually Suicide Prevention Day, or it's Awareness Day of suicide. And actually, suicide has touched my life, and with my family members, and it's just something deep within. You just start pouring your heart out in a song, and actually, I played this to Steve Vesey from WFMJ, and he heard the song. He invited the band on, and we were able to play it live. So the song's gone really well for us.
Now, this is a great video. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the video, too?
The video was created by me, and it uses just imagery of how to lift yourself up. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
And what people go through too, you can see where you're down and you feel like you're out, but there's always hope. There's always hope.
Always hope. Never give up.
Yeah.
All right, let's check it out here. The Sun Will Rise Again. This is Broken Reins here. Let's give it a listen.
Never give up, never give in. Fighting that fight, so the devil don't win. Hold on to your hopes, hold on to your dreams. Your fears are far less than they might seem. And oh, the sun will shine again. Shine again. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. The sorrow, the shame, the hurt and the pain. My burden of dreams are filled with mistakes. Son of the morning, he's chasing my soul. I'm trying to hide, there's nowhere to go. Oh no. Oh, the sun will shine again. And oh, the storm is at its end. The sun shine again. The storm is at its end. The clouds will part, there's a new start. The sun will shine again. Whoa, whoa, yeah, yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, amen, amen. Hallelujah, 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 amen, amen. The sun will shine again.
There we go. The song is called The Sun Will Rise Again. That's Broken Reins. And with me from the band, we got Wayne and we got Scott in the studio. And boy, that is a great song, man.
Thank you.
The video looks awesome, very professionally put together. Now, also you said that it's a suitable song. We even have the suicide prevention number on here, and today is Suicide Prevention Day. Now, you were saying that, your family was touched by suicide. What do you say to somebody out there that might be contemplating that or whatever, or what advice would you give to, maybe somebody's even listening right now, they're feeling bummed out, or what advice do you give people like that?
I would say, don't be reactive right now. Take a break. Everything isn't so immediate. Just take a break. Wait a day. Talk to somebody. Talk to a friend. Talk to a pastor. Talk to a coworker. Tell them what you're going through. There's people out there, especially in the Mahoning Valley. We love you. Don't do it.
Right.
Craig, the drummer of the band, he always says that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And it goes a lot deeper than that, because a lot of depression, a lot of things that are, I'm not looking for the mental aspect of that people can't help it. We know why they've got that part, and a simple thing like that sometimes doesn't help people, but you just see it all the time, and young kids too, the bullying things going on. And
Oh, yeah.
And people, these kids, killing themselves over that kind of thing. And now with the internet, you can't get away from it. Before, you go to school, you get it, you go home, you're over it.
Right.
You can't escape it.
And with the internet too, for kids, I really feel bad because it's so easy for bullies to pile on too. And it's 24/7. Like you say, you can't escape it. Maybe you go home and it's like, yeah, screw those assholes, or whatever. But now it seems like these days it's like 24/7. And some of the people. Well, you see the parents are just as bad. When you see all the name calling and all that kind of stuff on Facebook and social media today by adults, by grown people, the bullying and the name calling, which I think is just totally out of control right now. And so you can just imagine what these kids are going through. And if the parents aren't doing it, if the parents aren't doing anything to stop it, and they're out there calling people names and all that, third grade bullshit out there, it's a tough thing. All right, let's move on to brighter subjects, man. I don't want to bring the show down, but it is, with today being Suicide Prevention Day, and that song, and a song that means something to you, and maybe somebody, you could touch somebody in that way, and I think you defined it.
Just talk to somebody. If somebody's thinking about doing, don't please. Just talk to somebody. There's people out there that love you.
Now, you guys were talking about you got 5 guys in a band that all get along. Now, in all the bands that you've been in, that's a hard thing to do. How have you guys been able to keep this band together, and how do you guys all stay on the same page? Because God knows, man, to do a band like that, it's not easy.
Well, it really starts with the interview process. You tell them, here's what we're doing, here's where we're going, here's where we want to go, and here's how we're going to get there. And so we have a band constitution. And you can't go against the band constitution. Here's how we pick our songs. Here's how we're going to write our songs. Here's how we're going to do everything going forward, how gigs go, how every aspect of the band goes. So there's no question when we come and say, hey, no, you're not going to do that, or hey, let's do this song. Oh, no, we're not doing that song. I hate that song. It has nothing to do with it. As far as our cover songs go, it always goes by the charts. It has to be a hit. It's not a hit, we don't do it. As much as there's some songs I would love to do, but you can't break that band constitution. So as long as everyone buys into that concept, and it's really, it's really leads the band. There's not room for those kind of disagreements when you've already agreed. Here it is. Here's how you do it. That makes it big deal.
Now, why don't more bands do that? Why don't more bands do that? It just seems to make so much sense to me that get 5 guys, get on the same page, and then make it happen and follow that thing. I don't know why more bands just don't say, listen, here's our goal.
The thing about this band, too, is that there aren't any egos. Everyone in this band, especially me. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone in the band, everyone's good musicians, good singers. Everyone can does a really good job, but there's no egos. No one makes the band about themselves. Everyone is about the band. there's none of the, most of us all just like playing together, and there's something about when you start singing harmony and other guys are, coming in with their parts and the music, and you hear this guitar part of this guitar. There's sometimes about 3 guitars going. So why do you need 3 guitars? As you ever listen to some of this music, there might be 4 or 5 parts going on. So it's really cool when you hear those parts going on, and you hear this guitar part of that guitar part. It's just like it gets you pretty excited. You could be going to rehearsal and then go work, and you're tired, and you start hearing this, like it makes you feel really good.
Right.
So you don't want to mess that up.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. I was just looking at some of the other things here. Now, how about you guys? How did you guys get started in music? I mean, what got you going here? I
always tell this kind of long story. I'll make it short in a long way. When I was a kid, a friend of mine turned me on to Elvis Presley, and I just thought that was really cool. There were the movies were on TV, that kind of thing, and I swear it was before my time. But I just thought that was really cool. He's out there singing, and the girls and and stuff. And but then it's a funny thing. My mother had a album collection of Led Zeppelin, and they used to go to all those concerts. I think she's a bit of a hippie, I guess, at one time. So I just started getting so many different influences, and I just that's how I got going. I started playing guitar, and what it really was, singing was my big thing. But that bands wanted you to play guitar too, could just sing. So that's what I did. I'm glad I did.
So it was Elvis that kind of got you going, and the girls and the clam bake, and Anne Margaret and all those, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then they'd be out there dancing in every movie, and it was always him trying to get a pretty girl and all that kind of stuff.
And it's funny how life imitates that, or however that thing goes.
Yeah.
But it is funny too, because in music it kind of goes that way. People are out for the party, everybody's having a good time, and it makes you feel good.
Oh yeah. I mean, sex and drugs and rock and roll. It's kind of how it all goes. Now, how about you, Scott? What got you into the whole music scene?
My dad's Dick Gearheart.
Right.
So there was a band.
Legend. His dad's a legend.
There was a band, Freddie, in the living room when I grew up. So I probably thought everybody was a musician. My papa was a musician, my grandma was a musician, my brother's a musician, my whole family's musicians.
Yeah. Let's talk about your old man for a little bit, because boy, me and him go back a long ways.
WNIO jams and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, we used to have. Now what? Was his band White Lightning or Southern Comfort? Dick Gearheart.
Dick Gearheart and White Lightning.
White Lightning, yeah.
Dick Gearheart and Southern Reunion.
It's Southern Reunion. That's what I was thinking. Right. Yeah. So he had 2 bands, but I'll tell you what, we used to have so many great country pickers back in the day, and your dad was one of them. And like you say, we used to have those WNIO jamborees. Where we would have like 10 bands at like the Parlor on a Sunday, and we would start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we would go until the sun went down, and we would have bands all day, and the country bands back there were amazing. It was like Your Old Man, and then we had Windy Bill Morrell and his band, and Bill Baker and the Detours, all these great guys. Oh, Sterl Holbrook, man, what a guy he was. And would always get him up on stage, and of course Bill Scudero would fit in anywhere. You'd get Sideshow in there, and Alan Shane and Cripple Creek and Mike Sayers and the Mecca Band.
Used to be Sterl's lead guitar player for a long time. Yeah.
I remember he had Ruthie McGill as his singer. Remember Alan Shane and Ruthie McGill?
Yeah, I do. I grew up with, that was my dad's peer group. So
right. And you know what I find is amazing? Back then, it doesn't seem like country was as big as it is now, but it seemed like we had the coolest country bars all over town and all these bands out there, and it was like its own little scene, though,
Yeah, and these guys could play.
Oh yeah.
I think that's like when I write an original, it might sound a little bit outlaw country, because my dad was like more outlaw country, like, Conway Twitty, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and that stuff was played in my house constantly, and I mean, that's all that was played was country music.
Oh yeah, I mean, I look back and well, of course the Hacienda. Earl Maines play Hacienda all the time, and what else do we have out there? Woody's Same Old Song Saloon was country there for a while, one of the earlier country places. Country Junction.
Yeah. My dad was like the house band at Sunset. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Over by the Blarney Stone, but right there by the railroad tracks. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, he was there for a long time.
Oh, all those places, man. I mean, the country scene was really but it was like not everybody was in on it, but the people that were in on it were into it big time.
Grandpas used to have.
Oh yeah.
And was it Kenny Mowry?
Yeah, Waco.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Waco, they were like one of the finalists in that Wrangler Country Showdown, the national contest. They had like one of the finals or the semifinals at the Canfield Fair, and they had these bands from all over the place. And as a matter of fact, I think their song was called Kentucky Lady. Okay. If I'm not mistaken. I still have the 45 laying around there somewhere.
I work with Kenny Mowry's son, Brent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like in the truck right next to me. So you got Dick Gearhart's son and Kenny Mowry's son. It's kind of funny, ain't it?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But man, back in the day, we really did have it going on, man, in the country scene. Now, what's the country scene like today? It's almost though, to me, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but it seems to me now that like it's country now is like so mainstream that it's almost, and in bands like you guys and some of these other bands, you got that mixture of country and rock and everything, so you don't necessarily have to have a quote-unquote country bar, because a band like you guys come in and you can entertain everybody.
Right. Yeah, we play everywhere. Rock clubs, in fact, these days right now we're surviving in rock clubs. But it was really surprised to me when we started talking about doing it, started researching and going places, and how young the crowds are. And the great thing about it is you're drawing from crowds that are 21 to 60 and sometimes older, so you get such a large crowd, because such a whole diverse amount of age group that come to hear you. And I was really surprised that the country, because when I was playing in the 80s, it wasn't as popular with younger people.
Yeah.
And now it's like it's the big thing.
No, it's crazy. Well, I have a theory on that too. To me, it seems like, the country sound now is a little bit more rock. And I think, we went through a period there, I think, with grunge and some of the newer rock bands where the music was kind of dark. And the one thing about the country today is you guys, you look at bands and they got guys with an AC/DC T-shirt playing a Stratocaster, and it has that rock feel to it. You see, like, all these guys have the light shows and pyro and all that kind of stuff. And I think that the subject matter of country music today is a lot lighter than some of the heavier rock stuff. I mean, it seems like you don't really have the people out there right now like back in the day when you had Eddie Money or even Journey, Bryan Adams, Summer of '69, songs like that. I think all that sort of music and those messages are all now coming out of country bands, guys like Kenny Chesney and stuff. They're singing about drinking beer and hanging with my girlfriend and having a good time on Saturday night. And, like I think the last show I mentioned, like, about Zach Brown chicken fried. Yeah. It's all about a good time. That song comes on and it automatically puts you in a good mood. You look at some of the Kenny Chesney stuff, like Summertime and When the Sun Goes Down.
It's got a little Jimmy Buffett feel to it.
Right. And it seems to me like a lot of the subject matter in country is more like, it's fun, it's good time music,
Life.
And it rocks a little bit more other than the twang. But don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I'm a Waylon Jennings, George Jones, Merle Haggard guy, from way back, so.
It is cool. I like all kind of music, and I really genuinely do love country music. And I was saying to someone, because I sang rock for so many years, and you're trying to sing at the top of your range and sing a Led Zeppelin or Fall Out Boy at the end of when I was doing rock. And I started doing country, and it was a real big change for me. Where in the hell was I going with that?
Maybe you're singing it saves your vocal?
Oh, no?
Okay, I don't know. Because if you're singing Robert Plant, that's not going to save your vocal.
No, but there was
Or
something...
AC/DC.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that'll rip you up.
Right.
No, wow. I knew it was really going to be cool, too, and everyone's going to miss out on this. I just feel bad for everyone.
So now, what kind of material do you guys play in your show? People have never seen Broken Reins. Like, what are some of the places you play? What's some of the material that you guys work on?
Well, besides our own stuff, we do Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, all the big country stars, Blake Shelton.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I was going with that. The music is really a lot more positive. I mean, you have a few songs that are down, but that's with anything.
Well, yeah, but with country too, man. I mean, some of the greatest country tearjerkers of all times, man. I mean, I go back to guys like Red Sovine and stuff like that. I mean, the tearjerker was
George
always
Jones.
part of country music.
Absolutely.
He stopped loving her today. That's a tear.
Yeah,
well,
and you can still really get in touch with your emotions, even things that there's always some kind of message in the song.
You're cheating hard.
You're cheating hard.
That's.
Oh yeah,
Right. And I don't know how much deeper you can get than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. The music is fun, and it's something you really can party with, but you're still think, people know the words better than I know the words. And I'm singing, I'm looking, and I see someone look at me, I'm thinking, oh man, I messed that up. Because they know them, and I forgot them.
And you see that today, even like on the concert scene, where it's like guys like Kenny Chesney, and these are the people that are selling stadiums. Before it would be like the Aerosmith or these kind of guys, but now it seems like the really big concerts, the really big ones, other than like the Stones, Bruce Springsteen, U2,
You mean the newer acts coming out?
Yeah, a lot of these, the newer acts. I mean, look at Florida Georgia Line. They played Stamp Auditorium one day, and then the next week, a year or two later, they're selling out Stambaugh Stadium.
I think Luke Combs is like that too. Like he just kind of came on the scene, and I think he's playing. The basket where the Cavs play, not the Thunder Arena, but with
the Q or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Quicken Loans.
Yeah,
Quicken
Loans, yeah. He's like
quit changing the name. It's always the Jake to me.
Yeah.
It's always a Gund Arena, and Star Lake will always be Star Lake, no matter how many names they go through. It's Star Lake. I don't know why. They Post Gazette Pavilion, Coca-Cola, this bank, that bank, PNC, First Niagara. Maybe just call it at Star Lake to make it that way.
That might be smart.
Of course, we were thinking about purchasing the naming rights for the baseball team, the Indians, and we're called Broken Reins Stadium. Scott has the money to do it, so thank God he's rich.
I don't know what's going on in the world of sports, because with the COVID.
Well, the Browns start this Sunday.
Yeah, I know. So you guys both Browns fans?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what today is? Today is a big day in Cleveland Browns history. Today in 1989, the Browns gave the Steelers their biggest ass whooping ever, 51-0 in their season opener in Pittsburgh.
I was at that game.
Oh, was that crazy or what?
Yeah, in fact, I remember. I'm pretty sure it was when Gerald McNeil, the ice cube.
Yeah, the cube.
He caught the ball. And I think it was the first play, went all the way down. And I don't know if you could see video, but there's me. And I'm just like, I stand up into the stadium and I'm like, yes! And then all of a sudden they threw beer on me.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only Browns fan there. I had all my Browns gear on, but it was a good time.
I remember. We were talking about that not too long ago, about how that was really when the Browns-Steelers rivalry was truly a rivalry.
Yeah.
Where them guys were butting heads, and you'd beat them. We'd beat the Steelers one week, and then the next time, they'd beat us, and it was like. But now, you go 15, 20 years and you don't beat the team. It's a rivalry between the fans, but it's not between the players.
No, well, we haven't had a good quarterback since Bernie.
Yeah.
We love Bernie, and we just haven't. I would say that the jury's still out on Baker. I'm not sure. I would say this year we'll know if he's the real deal or not.
Right.
But I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, just one. Can't you just give us one? That's all we're asking for. That's why we say, listen, guys or ladies, if you're looking for a spouse, if you're looking for an old man, an old lady, boyfriend, girlfriend, life partner, always choose a Cleveland Browns fan, because there's nothing that you can do to them to disappoint them that the Browns haven't already
Yeah.
done to them.
We're not going to give up on you.
It's already been done, you know.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the Super Bowl trophy and a picture of the Cleveland Browns helmet, and they said social distancing champions for since 1954 or something.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah. And then they have
Or 64, right?
Yeah, and guys, if you date a Cleveland Browns fan, she's not going to be disappointed if you don't give her a ring. and that's another thing too. Browns fans are always, we're always optimistic. It's not going to be like you're living with somebody that's going to be dragging you down all the time because hey, you lose your job, I'll get another one next year. There's always next year. No matter what happens, that there's always next year.
Always.
And that's how it goes. Being a Browns fan. So that's why you want a Cleveland Browns fan for a boyfriend, girlfriend, life partner, whatever it may be, because we're not really that hard to get along with.
I have a quick Bernie story. My dad races horses, harness racing. So there's a Legends race, and so he won the race, and Bernie's there to come out and get his picture with my dad and the horse and stuff because he's a legend. So he says, "Hey, Bill, you want to wear my Super Bowl ring?" And my dad's like, "Oh yeah, we're big fans." He was pretty cool.
He went up with the Cowboys, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have got to that. They would not got to the Super Bowl without him.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. At least he got a ring. But yeah, everybody used to love Bernie, man.
Oh,
I
love
mean,
Bernie.
the whole, and before that, the Cardiac Kids, and then the Bernie era came in, and it was just so fun to be a Browns fan. It was just so pumped up. But when you're the Steelers, bitch, and you go, you go 2 winless seasons and everything, that's what really bothers me though, because you think about the future of Browns fans, because there's little kids that have grown up that might be, in their teens, and never saw the team win, and you got the Steelers in your backyard, and all your friends are Steelers fans. You think you're going to get on the Browns bandwagon? It's tough. I'm on it because my old man was, diehard Browns fan, and it's like, that's all we're going for, the Browns,
That's right.
But now these kids, and probably if you're a Browns fan now, the kids want to bust your balls and be a Steelers fan just to rub your face in it, And they can't. I think there might be a little.
Is there some chatter?
A little friction going in the band. I know you guys got the band Constitution. I know you guys
we got
have
one
all this
Steelers
stuff.
fan, don't we?
Gary Cool just sent a picture of some kind of Steelers thing on here, some kind of Steelers bullshit. I don't know what he's doing here. He's trying to cause trouble.
Don't you get sick of winning, Gary? Come on.
Yeah,
Gary.
Anybody can root for. That's another one of my things. Anybody can root for a winning team, right?
Yeah.
Anybody. Hell yeah, we won 10 Super Bowls. Yeah, root for a team that has a losing season and then another season where they won 1 game and you're still fans. I still say if the Browns were in any other city other than Cleveland, they wouldn't have a single fan.
No.
They would not have a single fan to their name. They would be moving around to every 4 years or something. But in Northeast Ohio, we just sit here and we suffer.
When Art moved the team, we got a team back quick.
Oh, yeah.
It was quick.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
It wasn't
I felt
too
like
long.
we were on a bye week
3 years,
for
4 months,
3 years.
16 days.
yeah.
I tried to be like somebody else's fan, like a Buffalo fan.
Right. I was a Packers fan there for a while.
It was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was very hard to watch.
And then to see Ozzie Newsome be the architect of the whole thing, to win the Super Bowl and draft all these Pro Bowlers and stuff, and you're going, Ozzie, come on.
Yeah.
And that's like I was talking before. I think last week, I interviewed Bernie, and I didn't interview him last week, but when I interviewed him, and he was talking about the good old days, and he was talking about how that 51-0 game was probably the highlight of his career, and he said that really meant a lot to him. But then he started talking about how him and Franco Harris were friends, and he's talking about how him and Franco were like hanging out and going to golf outings and all this stuff. And I almost want to start crying. It was like, Bernie, what are you telling me here? You didn't bitch slap Franco at the thing?
Exactly. Do you remember when Franco raced Jim Brown?
No.
On TV. Jim Brown had been retired, and Jim Brown I believe, I don't want to speak for Jim Brown, but he didn't like the way Franco would go out of bounds. And he's like, you know how Jim Brown runs.
Right.
Like Jim Brown. And then he challenged him to a race. I guess you could YouTube it, and it was Jim Brown and Franco Harris, but Franco Harris was still playing. he so beat Jim Brown, but Jim Brown had been retired. You know, it's like the old guy going, I could beat you in a race.
Right.
But he did not. I was rooting for him, though.
Oh, yeah, who wasn't? Yeah, just another one of those things where, okay, the Steelers got to get over on us one more time.
Yeah.
But I'm sick of it. And they got to win a Super Bowl here soon because, I want to party my ass off when they do it. I want to, I can't wait a few more years. I'm getting older. You start getting health problems and stuff, The ticker ain't what it used to be. I want to go out there. I want to party my ass off. What am I going to do? I'm going to be there on a walker. I'm going to have
That's exactly what you'll do.
I'm going to have one of those oxygen tanks. How am I going to burn a car or something when they have the riot?
I'll help you, man.
I'm going to take off the oxygen thing and use it as a torch. Hey, go Browns! 64.
Oh yeah, but we do. We love the Browns.
I'm telling you, yeah, we're going to see where this whole thing goes. Hey, we are sitting here. We're talking with Wayne. We're talking with Scott from the band Broken Reins. Hey, Joe, let's throw up another one of their songs here. How about It's Only Monday? You like that one?
Yeah.
And I see you got your guitar here, so we're going to have to play a live one here coming up in a couple of seconds.
No problem.
All right, man, the band is Broken Reins. We got Wayne and Scott. Broken Reins, that's a lot of. Yeah, now I turn into Elmer Fudd.
I get that a lot.
All right, It's Only Monday. Is that the version?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You just shot whiskey, roll me up a little song. Have a nice cold beer now, it brings a little bit of hope. Find a redneck woman, you're squeezing on me tight. But today it's only Monday, wish it was Saturday night. Saturday night, when I'm 10 feet tall and thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is jumping and the dancing through the honky-tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, Lord, it's 5 days away, cause today it's only Monday.
12-hour shifts, 8 days a week. An ex-wife and her boyfriend, 4 kids to feed. I could use a vacation, my money's run dry. Raise hell on the weekend, on Saturday night.
Saturday night, when I'm 10 feet tall and thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is jumping and the dancing to the honky-tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, Lord, it's 5 days away, cause today it's only Monday. Sunday's gone, but Monday came on strong. Tuesday's slow, and Wednesday's gotta go. Thursday aches, and Friday's payday. Saturday, it's time to play. I salute you, my blue-collar brothers. Saturday night, when I'm 10 feet tall and thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is jumping and the dancing to the honky-tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, Lord, it's 5 days away, cause today it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday. You're so far away. Today it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday. So far
All right. Go ahead.
Okay, we are back. Joe, our producer, had to run into the back room, and I thought he was getting us a beer. And then what do we have here, Joe? Some bourbon. I thought we were going to do a toast, and Scott and Wayne just pounded it like in 2 seconds. I didn't know if we were going to sip that or what. And then the next thing I know, I turn around, it's like, oh shit, the bourbon's gone.
You can't put alcohol in front of us.
Freddie, we're real big believers in rehearsing. So we just thought we'd see how that went first, and then we could do it live, you know.
Oh, that's some good bourbon there, huh?
Yeah,
What is that, Joe?
He can't hear you on the thing.
Damn.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's very nice.
That is some good stuff there. Wow.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace.
Buffalo Trace. Where's that from?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo.
Want some beers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well. Like I say, these beers have been in the fridge here, and I've been.
A bottle of it? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this is fancy.
Oh, yeah.
It says, does that say Christmas? I don't have my glasses.
It is.
Yeah, it does.
Hey,
It must be fresh.
I got your cover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are fresh. Hey, you know. Hey,
2020.
yeah. These are from Christmas 2020. I don't think this is from last year. No, you know what though? I noticed about this.
That's a good year.
You know what though? A lot of these craft beers, they don't seem to taste skunky. I don't know. If you like it, drink it. If not, I'm not going to be offended.
No, it's okay.
We just got to get rid of it.
I like it.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, Christmas ale. Although, you know what, here, we're at that time of year anyways with
Yeah.
pumpkin spice. Are you guys pumpkin spice fans?
I'm a pumpkin, not pumpkin spice. It has to be made with real pumpkins. Usually the more spice in your pumpkin beer is usually not made with real pumpkin.
Oh, well, at least you're talking about beer. You're not talking about coffee and donuts and every other
no.
single pumpkin Oreos and all that stuff.
I thought we were still talking about beer. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, you know, I didn't mean to throw you a curve like that. Okay, but like if you have a craft beer, so the pumpkin without the spice makes a better beer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of spice in pumpkin beers, but you really want that pumpkin front and center, and then you know it's made with real pumpkin. O'Fallon's is like one of my favorite pumpkin beers. Am I allowed to say that too?
Yeah,
It
you
is one
say
of my
whatever you
favorite
want.
pumpkin beers.
You're allowed to say anything here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're celebrating the Cleveland Browns 1989 51-0 biggest ass whooping of all times against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey now.
Cheers. There we go. That's what we're talking about. And of course, your last song was called It's Only Monday, and you're singing about Saturday night. And that's some of the things we were talking about a little bit earlier, where you get more of that in country songs. You know, I mean, before we used to have more of that in rock. Like I say, people that come to mind, Bryan Adams, Eddie Money with songs like "Shakin'" and stuff
that's
like
great
that.
songs.
And you know, you know, it's just like it seems like country took over that kind of lyrics or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
storytelling.
Yeah, and I think there was a real a spot that needed filled. I mean, I think everyone. I mean, music speaks to everybody. And I think that you're driving to work and you're tired, you don't feel like going. You turn on the radio and you play the songs that you get you feeling good.
Yeah.
Or thinking about something else, and it's a distraction.
Yep. No, it really is. It really is. You know, going back to that 1989 game, 8 turnovers. We sacked Bubby Brister 5 times. Remember Bubby Brister? Tim Worley had 3 fumbles. It was Bud Carton. Okay, yeah. I better get some more whiskey over here. Bud Carson's first win when he replaced Marty. It was his season opener. That was his debut. And linebacker Dave Grayson had 2 touchdowns in that game. That was awesome. And then there was that other one. What was it? Eric Metcalf when he ran those others back. I think I forget what year that was. I can't even remember now. Things have become such a blur. And you know what it is with me? My smartphone has made me dumb. I don't even try to remember things anymore. You know what I mean? I'll be even sitting around talking to somebody. I'll say, "Hey, what movie was that guy in?" I don't even try to think. I just, you know, or you know, what year did that come out or whatever. You know, before I used to know all that stuff and I could rattle off the top of my head. Now it's like, let me look it up. I'm not even wasting my time thinking about it. Now, you know, my phone has become smarter than me. Usually around this time, a couple of things we do here. I'm looking at some of the offbeat news stories for this week. You know, Florida man usually seems to dominate the headlines. Okay. You know, there's always something goofy. There's always some bastard down there in Florida that's going goofy and doing something stupid. But I have always maintained that Ohio man is right up there with him. You know, I think we could go toe to toe. Just even things that happen in Youngstown, that happen in Warren. How about this one, Joe? You got to pull up this guy's mugshot because this is a classic. Wait until you see this. Police arrested a man when he was unconscious on a bedroom floor at a house that he'd broken into. He had handcuffs, zip ties, and a .22 pistol in his backpack, and he was too high to even know where he was. Now, wait until you see this guy's mugshot. It's in one of your emails there.
Okay.
It's titled Mugshot. And it's like, this guy, check out this mugshot right there.
Man, that's our drummer.
Now, yeah, the drummer from Broken Reins was found naked. Yes, as a matter of fact, we're going to start a GoFundMe account right now. If you are listening to this podcast, if you are watching us now, we just ask you to send $5 to bail out the drummer from Broken Reins. He kind of looks like he's the spawn of Charles Manson. And I don't know if that's a Christmas tree or an ace of spades that he has on the bridge of his nose, right
Could be an
between his
arrowhead,
eyes.
too.
What is that?
Could be an arrowhead.
Yeah, it might be an arrowhead.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so, see, Florida man has nothing on that guy. Nothing at all.
conspicuous at all.
You know, come on, Florida man. Step up. Let me see you take this guy. But the guy got just so messed up, passed out, broke into somebody's house, and I don't know. Here's another one. This happened in Warren. Okay, Florida man, you ain't got nothing in on us. A kid in Warren called cops after his mom left him and his young brothers and sisters at home alone while she was out, quote unquote, pursuing a career in rap music. But that's real street cred, right? You leave the kids at home. Now maybe the kid would grow up to be the real rapper, you know?
Yeah.
He start rapping about mama leaving him at home while she was out, but
I think that's our drummer's wife. Right?
all these stories revolve around Broken Reins. Oh yeah, you know, that's how Scott got into it, man. Dick was out playing, and you know, the kids were out running loose in the house.
All making sense now.
Yeah, this is all starting to fall together here. Here's another one. Police were called to a store in Warren at the Sparkle Market over on Parkman Road. They arrested a guy for shoplifting. Well, they tried to arrest. They tried to arrest him. He got away. They caught him on video, and he left his mask behind that he was wearing. So.
Yeah, that's funny.
Now this guy was probably waiting for that opportunity. Damn, I can go into Sparkle and wear a mask and nobody's gonna know. And when the security guard stopped him, he had something that looked a little strange on his back, and he told the guy it was a back brace, and it was like 3 packs of steaks. So he lost his mask and ran out the door. Oh, you know what time is it? Is it 4:20 yet? Almost 4:20, close enough. Our 4:20 story of the day, Mahoning County deputies aided in a raid where they seized 18 guns, 744 pounds of weed, 422 pounds of edibles, 143 pounds of vapors, and $250,000 in cash.
There goes my dealer.
But you know what? Why are we wasting all this? Other than the guns, why are we wasting all our time on this weed? You know, I mean, it's legal in half the states. You could go get all this stuff in Michigan, or if you got your card, why are we wasting all our time, you know, chasing down people like this? But they showed a picture of the cereal. They had cereal edibles. And they looked like real cereal, but they just had something that like gave them away, you know? Like they had Reese's Puffs, but it was PUFFFFF with a little smoke thing on it. You know, a picture of a marijuana leaf, but it looked close enough to like an actual product. Like it looked like the real stuff. But, you know, I guess, you know, yeah, putting a puff in Cocoa Puffs, you know? Wheaties, there's another one for you, right?
Yeah,
have a bowl of Wheaties, yeah. You know, not Wheaties, Wheaties. Yeah, have a bowl for breakfast, you know? Oh, okay, yeah, there, I think there. Look at the picture of this. This is the picture. They got this Captain Crunch, some kind of berry cereal, and it looks pretty real. And then you see the Reese's Puffs, and it got all the PUFFS, and it got a little marijuana leaf there and stuff. But, you know, I think you really need the 18 guns to go along with it. I think that's where the problems start. You know, probably
leave our guns and our weed alone. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, exactly. And here's another one that I saw today. And this was, they're having the Toy Hall of Fame. They have the nominees for this year's Toy Hall of Fame. And I'll read you this list, and you got to pick 3 to get into the Hall of Fame. Okay, three of these toys are going to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This year's nominees are My Little Pony, Baby Nancy, I don't know what that is, Light Bright, Masters of the Universe, the game Sorry, Yahtzee, Tamagotchi, Risk, Sidewalk Chalk. Those big things. I would have thought Sidewalk Chalk was in the Hall of Fame years ago.
Yeah.
And then they have Bingo and Jenga. So out of those three, what would you pick for the Toy Hall of Fame?
Boy, gotta go with Yahtzee, right? That's been around since like beginning of time.
I was going to say Yahtzee too, because Tony Randall used to do the commercials.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Tony Randall?
I think so.
Yeah. So I like the odd couple.
Yeah. You know what, Joe? See if you got an old Yahtzee commercial on there.
I'm pretty sure Tony Randall was on the Yahtzee commercial.
You know, I got to go along with Yahtzee because it always made you feel smart. Remember, they always had a professor or like a graduate, you know, a guy with looked like he was graduating from college, and it was like I always thought that as a kid, that was a thinking man's game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any old Yahtzee commercials on there. Okay, so that's one. Okay, we all agree on Yahtzee. I'm going with Light Bright too. I think Light Bright is an all-time classic.
That was going to be my second one.
That was going to be my first one, actually, but I thought, Light Bright, Yahtzee sounds more intelligent.
Right, yeah, because it made you feel smart. Only because.
Saying it.
Okay, is this a Yahtzee commercial here?
Yep.
All right, let's see. The Yahtzee commercial.
That's a good time to play Yahtzee.
3 balls, I need them.
What can you do when you're trapped?
That's a great time to play Yahtzee. Big straight.
I'll take the 40 points. And how about when you're away?
That's the best time to play Yahtzee.
Anytime, any place, you'll love Yahtzee, a game where strategy and chance add up to fun and excitement. Triple Yahtzee, Challenge Yahtzee, and Word Yahtzee
Wow.
from Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was that many Yahtzee.
Neither did I. Yeah, that must have been a little bit before Tony Randall doing the commercials when it was just Yahtzee and the guy that looked like a college
I think that was
professor.
Tony Randall.
You know, Full House,
That was the
large
70s.
straight,
It was the
small
70s,
straight,
okay.
3 of a kind, 4 of a kind. You know, and I'm sure that the Yahtzee has started many fights back in the day with a lot of kids. You know what? I think my philosophy on that is that's why a lot of kids today, we have a lot of sissies and stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you grew up back in the day, how many brothers and sisters did you have?
2.
Okay, so there was 3 of you total,
I
Wayne?
was all by myself.
Oh, you were all by yourself. Screw you. You don't count. You know, he's just a little spoiled brat. He's one of these guys that are crying out there anyways. But okay, so you had 3 kids in there playing Yahtzee, and you know somebody was cheating, and there would always be a fight at these games.
Yeah, well,
you know?
I was the oldest, so I always won. you know how you said you had a problem with a bully? That would have been me back in the day. My brothers.
Yeah, you know a game that everybody used to cheat on too, and I remember me and my brothers and sisters always used to get into fights over this one. Remember, I think it was Trouble and Headache with the Pop-O-Matic, and then you would pretend like, 6, and you would see 5, and you would try to do the double count, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, and you only moved at 3 spaces, and you knock them back and stuff like that, you know. And I think that's the problem today is the smaller families and, you know, these spoiled brat, single, you know, one kid in the family. You can't even count that a family. To me, if you don't have 3 kids, you're really not a parent. You know, you need at least 3 because you got to have that challenge going on. You know, 1 kid, 2 kids, okay,
In my
easy.
defense, I was one person, but I was a musician, so I kind of count for a few more because
Okay, now
you're kind of trouble.
were your parents supportive of you being a musician?
Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't say they're hippies, but they were kind of
Okay.
hippies.
Right. But they got it. But I mean, going back to like our day, there was a lot of times where, you know, put that damn guitar away. Now, Scott, I know you never had that, you know, with your old man and your grandfather and stuff. Right. You guys were picking up a guitar. Now, when you were now, when did you really start playing? Like in grade school, or you know, were you strumming a guitar around then?
To be honest with you, in my family, you know, before I could put my hands around the guitar, I knew how to set up a PA system because my dad didn't really want to do it. So I already knew what return and send. You know,
Right.
And so I think I started playing guitar around the age of 12, where I could get my hands on it, and you know, my dad taught me. And then later on, you know, when I was coming up, Eddie Van Halen became kind of popular, so you kind of you know, this is before the internet. You couldn't see how guitar players were doing this, so I gave my dad a ruption. I said, "Dad, figure this out." It's like Merle Haggard on crack.
Right.
So, but he did come back and he showed me, you know, when I went to practice, we were playing it with our thumb because country pickers played it with their thumb, but I always sounded like a country guy playing Eruption. But yeah.
Well, speaking of the internet and things like that, back in the day we learned songs and you had on a cassette or a record or whatever and you're going back and forth, what did he say? What did he say? So you kind of think, you know what he said. Well, years later, we used to do I Want You to Want Me, Cheap Trick, and I was listening to the words and it came up on one of these videos and I'm looking and thinking, son of a bitch. Those are the words. I'm not changing that.
Well, you know what? And see, think about like the generation before that or the generation before that. First of all, when you had these guys like, Jimi Hendrix and stuff that were making this stuff up as they went along.
Yeah.
They're just making this stuff up out of clear blue. And I know, like, I interviewed JR from Styx.
Oh, okay.
Or JY, James Young. And I interviewed him, and he was talking about when he was growing up, like having to he was like, he went to see Jimi Hendrix, and these guys were like taking binoculars to look up on the stage to see what they were doing. Or these guys were trying, you had to figure this all out. There was nobody, it's not like now. I mean, if you want to be a guitar player, you can find all the lyrics, the guitar chords, lessons, anything. You go on YouTube and find all that stuff. But back in the day, first of all, these guys were just making it up as they're going along, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're trying to learn it, and you got to figure this out, slowing records down, getting a record player, and instead of playing a 45, slowing it down to 33 to just try to figure what these people are doing, or having to go to a concert and trying to look up on stage, what the hell is that? How's that guy doing that?
That's how we used to learn lead. I'm a lead guitar player. We would go and physically. Well, I mean, there was lead guitar players at my house because my dad was there with his lead guitar player.
Yeah.
But then, if I wanted to learn the rock stuff, I'd go watch Jeff Welsh play.
Oh, yeah.
Or any local band that had Dave LeMasters.
Oh, what a great guitar player there, man.
But I would just sit there as a young man, or Rollo. Sideshow or whatever.
Yeah, I got to get...
Nicky Leonetti, stuff like that. And I would just watch them play. And then sometimes I would keep my guitar in my car. And in between, I'd run out there and I'd try to remember the riff, because that's just how you did it.
Right. Yeah, it's not like, you could just watch these videos and here's a guy and you can buy a course and all that kind of stuff. It was a little bit different. Yeah, I definitely got to get Bill and Rollo in here, Bill Scudero and Rollo, because Bill has so many stories. You know what? I was over his house earlier this summer because we live one street over. And me and him were just sitting there swapping stories, and I was like, damn, I just wish I had a mic going right here. We should have just set up the whole shebang and had these great stories. And then, when you look at Rollo and his history with that band like Mom's Apple Pie and all that stuff, and those guys have such great stories. Okay, Mark Bresnahan says, Scott, you play guitar. And Craig Pepe was talking about the story we did about the guy with the handcuffs and the zip ties. He's wondered where his handcuffs and zip ties went to.
Bail's on the way, Craig.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, back to the Toy Hall of Fame. See, that's the beauty about this show. We just go off wherever we are. Once that what was that bourbon called?
The bourbon?
The wild turkey or something, Buffalo or whatever.
Yeah, something.
Hey, you know what? Now that you guys had a shot in you got your guitar sitting here. You guys want to play a song? Why don't you play one of your originals? Do an original here. Our guests here this afternoon in the Youngstown studio, Wayne Webb, Scott Gearheart from Broken Reins. And these guys are going to strap it on and put the meat on the table. Slap the meat on the table.
All right. What are you going to do?
I guess we'll do...
Take a sip of beer, you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
the beer will figure it out for you. Hold on here. Okay, yeah. Social!
All right.
For all of you drinking at home along with us, social.
All right. Am I in tune, Gary? All right.
Okay.
Take me back to mama. I'm not putting up with that foolishness no more.
Take me back to mama. Daddy never heard my mama like that before.
Well, you were too talented, won't be a slave to your way no more.
Baby, please don't believe
my heart, you took my soul, you put our love on the line. You took my junk, you took my dog, and you left me behind. Oh, that's a crime. I'm headed back to mama. Don't touch your foolishness. I'm headed back to my mama. I don't know you're taking my pay. Well, I'm a rambling man. I had a one-night stand playing in the Broken Reins band, and I can't change my evil ways. No, I can't, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I'm the boy your mama warned you about. Y'all.
Yeah, boy, did that sound good, man. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm watching Scott play, and I'm just picturing you and your dad and the family sitting around the living room and just having a good old time, man.
Yeah.
Just going at it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like holidays at your house and stuff, everybody got a guitar, and it's probably like a part of the whole ritual.
Yeah, in fact, that song, you know, when I wrote it, Waylon Jennings came to me. It was weird. It was called "Take Me Back to Mama," and I was laying in bed, and my wife said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, Waylon Jennings wants to talk to me." So I went out, and I'm not kidding. Waylon Jennings like wrote this song out for me, showed me the chords, and I played it to the band the next day. I mean, it was written within. And when I woke up, I don't even remember this. I charted the chords. I had all the lyrics and.
It had nothing to do with the acid before we went to bed.
Right. Of course not.
But yeah, Waylon said, I remember Waylon saying, I want you to give this to Broken Reins. Here's you guys a song. And I was just like, it's never happened to me before.
Waylon Jennings, man, that's my man, boy.
Yeah.
What a badass right there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's one guy I never saw in concert. I saw David Allan Coe a million times. I saw Willie a million times. I saw Hank Jr., another one of my personal favorites, a million times. But man, Waylon, that's the one. I saw Johnny Cash, met Johnny Cash. I tell that story all the time, so I'm not even going to tell it today. But meeting Johnny Cash was probably one of the biggest thrills of my life. You know what? And he was as cool as you would think Johnny Cash would be. It was not a disappointment. As cool and as down to earth, like we're sitting here talking.
Yeah. Where did you meet him at?
In Newcastle, at the Scottish Rite Cathedral, back in like 1982, maybe.
I went to that concert. I was there.
Yeah, in Newcastle.
A friend of mine, he said, he just broke up with his girlfriend. He says, hey, I got these tickets. I'm going to go see Johnny Cash. Or you want to go with me? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know. He says, come on. He says, it's not going to charge you anything. You get the ticket for free. I'm like, okay, I'll go. So we went there, and we must have been like 5 rows back. And he came out and said, hi, I'm Johnny Cash, like this thing. And I got chills. I like, all of a sudden, I am a fan. You know, I could not believe he had such a presence.
Yeah, oh no.
Amazing.
Now I got to tell the story because just the fact that you said when he said hello, I'm Johnny Cash, you got chills. So me and Gary Z were emceeing the show that night, and we're over at the Scottish Rite Cathedral in Newcastle, and we're just hanging around backstage and everything. And all of a sudden, the door opens up, and it's almost like something you see in a movie where the wind is howling and whoosh, and a bright light has just come shining through, and there's thunder and lightning crashing, and in walks Johnny. As big as life, you know, big man, man in black. He's all dressed in black, and he's got June with him. And he walks in, and that's the first thing he does. He walks right over to me and Gary Z. We're sitting there, sticks out his hand. He goes, hello, I'm Johnny Cash. This is my lovely wife, June. And it was like, we're like, you know, Wayne's World. We're not worthy, Johnny. You know, it's like, you don't have to introduce yourself to us. And so, you know, we're sitting there, and then he goes, hey, listen, we got a couple of chicken dinners. If you fellas like to join us for dinner, why don't you come on and...
You ate with Johnny Cash?
Oh, yeah, had dinner with him. Him and June. It was me, Gary Z., Johnny, June, and a couple other people, and we just sat there and we were just shooting the shit like it was like nothing. And my biggest regret is I didn't get a picture with him. I took a picture of him, but I didn't get my picture taken with
that's
him.
before the phones were.
Where everybody had, you know, because he had a camera with film in it and all that stuff, a 35 millimeter. But honestly, he was like the coolest cat that you ever wanted to meet. It was just like, you know, and I always tell this story. It's like one of my, okay, Grandpa, you're wearing out that story. You know, everybody I know probably heard it a million times, but you guys didn't. But so, you know, we're sitting there and we're shooting the shit with Johnny and everything. And throughout the years when we interviewed different bands here and there, and whether maybe like an up and coming band, like maybe like a Seether or somebody along those lines or whatever, some of these, and not to say Seether, but there's bands along that in that range or stuff. You want a 5-minute interview to help them promote their show, and they were like kind of dicks about it, or 5 minutes and all this stuff. And I would just look at those guys, and in my mind, I'm thinking, you must think you're bigger than Johnny Cash, because this ain't the way Johnny did it. And there's so many stories in the music business where Johnny Cash has reached out to so many people, and in time and need. I think Lenny Kravitz wrote that one song about Johnny Cash.
He did.
And,
that's right.
And it was because his mother had passed away,
Yes.
and they were sharing a recording studio. They were recording in the same building, and Johnny and June heard about his mom passing away, and I mean, they went in there and sincerely, put their arm around him and said, son, I'm sorry to hear about your ma and all that stuff. And it was like, and that's just the kind of guy that he was. I mean, there was nothing fake about him. And I look at some of them country guys, man. I met Merle Haggard, nothing fake about that guy. Not a single thing fake about Merle, down to earth. I met George Jones.
Yeah.
I met George Jones.
That ego, that pretentious,
No, none of them
Just
guys.
because music, it's your life. It's not just, something you're trying to impress people. It's what you do for yourself.
I would have been excited to
People
meet
like it.
June Carter, man. My grandma loved the Carter family. And it was played at our house a lot, the Carter family.
Right. And like I say, they were real people.
Yeah.
I mean, all these guys, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, George Jones, and they lived their problems in public too. I mean, they weren't trying to hide anything or whatever. And, I think they had a little bit of Jesus in them too, where they would repent or whatever.
Broken Reins, baby.
And it's just like, that's the way it is, but they, all them guys were just so cool. I remember one time we were down at Legend Valley, and it was like the Outlaw Jam, and it was the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band and Waylon. And Waylon didn't play because there was a storm. There was a huge gully washer. As a matter of fact, there were some characters down there that day, and this storm come in, and it looked like it was going to be a tornado. And I was seeing a lot of crazy people there, and I'm thinking, boy, God could take care of a whole lot of problems right here with one tornado, man. This could be like Noah's Ark, man. We could take care of a lot of trouble right here, But it was Hank Jr. and Willie and David Allen Coe was there.
That's great.
And the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band was there,
great acts.
and and it was just like this laid back atmosphere, and like the backstage area, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band's hanging around there, John McEwen and all those guys, and Hank Jr.'s there, Merle Kilgore was there, he's the guy who wrote Ring of Fire with June, and we're talking with him, and
Legends.
then the show starts. And when Hank Jr. starts playing, we're on stage. We're standing right there on stage, and like Hank is from me to you, and I'm taking pictures. And once again, this is back in the days with cameras and film.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I can't believe we're on stage, and I can't believe that Hank is right here, and I'm snapping all these pictures and stuff. And the next thing you know, here comes Willie. So I start snapping a couple of pictures. Boom, I'm out of film. And I'm like, oh man. And then it's at the end of the show, like the stage went out like this, and Willie was down below, and he's just signing autographs. And I mean, there's people there, there's everybody there, from the Hells Angels to the kids from the United Way, and he's signing items for them to auction off or whatever. And I remember this, I kind of jumped off the top of the stage, and I land right in front of Willie, and I had my tape recorder, and I had this little piece of paper, and I wanted him to say, hey, this is Willie, you're listening to WNIO or whatever. And I jumped right down in front of Willie, and I kind of startled him. And I'm standing there with this microphone in his face. I just come out of nowhere. Boom, and then I go, Willie! I might have said, wait a minute. Being there all day, I didn't say Willie. I said, Willie! 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 have this piece of paper, I had a microphone, and he looks at me and he goes, he looked at somebody, he goes, thank you, and he turned to me and goes, what'd you say? And that's all I got on tape. Really going, thank you, what'd you say?
Was Boots Bell at any of them shows? Like, I know he was with WNI.
Yeah, no, he didn't come out. It was mainly me and Gary Z, you know.
You know, I heard Boots one time. I don't. Maybe you can like confirm this.
Yeah.
But he introduced the Beatles.
He didn't actually introduce him on stage, but he like dominated the whole interview when they played in Pittsburgh, when they made their debut in Pittsburgh.
What was the story about Boots and the Beatles? Because I've heard different things.
Yeah, when the Beatles played Pittsburgh, and you know they had like a press conference and everything, and like Boots was like just the guy right up there with the microphone, and he just like kind of stole the whole interview and the whole press thing, and he befriended them.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But with Boots, some of his stories I didn't always know. You know what I mean? With him, you know, the thing was, you know, he might come up with Boots would come up with a story that might have been complete bullshit, but then there he is with the Beatles. You know, there he is with a microphone in Paul McCartney's face. You know?
Yeah, and Boots was one of the people that I met when I was real young. He saw my band way back in the day. I met him at Cortland Roller Rink. It's before I could play the bars. My dad didn't want me play. I mean, I could go play a club if I was warming up for my dad, so my dad could watch me.
Right.
But me and my cousin Paul, we started out and we were playing the roller rink scene, like Top of the Strip.
Oh yeah.
Cortland Roller Rink. But Boots was there one night doing a thing. Yeah, he was doing a thing for WNIO, and after I got done playing, man, he bought me and my cousin like the stuff at the concession stand. He sat down and he talked to us. He was the most. Like he just lifted us up, man. He's like dressed really nice, like you know what I mean. He was dressed nice.
Oh yeah, he would have the craziest clothes and everything. That's what set him apart from everybody. Even back in the day, if you want to go back to the early '60s, 1964 or whatever, Boots was such a showman, and he had such a presence. You know, with his voice, with his look, the way he would always dress. Boy, back in the day, that guy had the wildest, craziest suits and everything.
Yeah,
he was just like, you know, he was just something else, man. He just grabbed you. And I was lucky enough to work with Boots for 10 years straight. Wow. And, you know, I learned a lot from him, believe me.
He was the first celebrity I ever met. Like, I generally was just so, it was like, to me, like meeting Elvis Presley, it was like Boots Bell, man. It was just like, it was amazing. I think Boots Bell should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I definitely do, too.
He is the Alan Freed of our area, man. He is just, when you think of the Mahoning Valley, and, you know, Boots Bell is a giant. You know?
Oh yeah, if you had a Mount Rushmore of the Mahoning Valley, I would say Boots would definitely be on there. Maybe Jim Trafficant, Boo Boo Mancini.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, maybe maybe Jim Trussell, but you know, some people like that. But yeah, Boots and Trafficant and Boom Boom would definitely be on the Mount Rushmore, because he was Youngstown, man.
He was.
Yeah.
You know, I remember. You know, I think that's how I got introduced to you, Freddie, was you know, listening to you on the radio. I remember Boots. I don't, you know, this was going a while back, but he used to do WHOT, and then it would it turn into the Wizard after so long, or whatever. But then they took the Wizard off.
Yeah.
So there was a big. It seems like there was a chunk of time where no one was playing rock and roll music.
No.
And then.
Yeah,
then
4
you
years.
And Casey and stuff came on the air, and you guys at CB 106.
You're right.
The Wolf.
Yeah.
And
wow, look
man,
at your memory.
Yeah, no, it's just because I'm looking at them or whatever, and you guys just I was just like, I got so, just like when I first saw Boots, I just thought he was such a innovator. You know, whatever, and you guys kind of like, Boots was on CD 106, if I remember right.
As a matter of fact, he was the first voice on CD 106 because we had an announcement, because we did a big fireworks display and everything down at the mall when we kicked off the station. And the first voice on it, we wanted it that way too. And I played the first song, which was Bob Seger, the live version of Old Time Rock and Roll.
There you go.
And then we followed up with Led Zeppelin Rock and Roll.
There you go.
And I still remember to this day, you know, we had a little controversy there because Casey Malone wanted Zeppelin rock and roll first, and we went with the live version of Bob Seger, Old Time Rock and Roll, only because it was so popular at the time. You know, and it was the live version, and you know, because we were take the old records off the shelf or whatever. And so but Boots was the first voice. You know, as soon as we signed on, you know, we had him make a special welcome to the Wolf, you know, announcement and everything. But yeah, like you say, the Wizard went off the air in 1984, and we didn't come on until 1988. So there was that like 4-year gap of no rock station. You either had to listen, right? You had to either listen to WONE, WMMS, or WDVE, wherever you were situated.
You couldn't get it in good in the city.
Right. And that's why it was such a big thing, and that's why we really just took everything by storm when we signed on. It was just like, boy, we were off to the races, you know. It was hammered down, you know.
Gearheart comes in and kills it.
Well, no, you know, I ain't even going down that road, man. I ain't going down that road. But anyways,
Speaking of icons,
but yeah, it was.
Speaking of icons, you are one of those icons.
Well, you know, but like I say, I worked with Boots for 10 years, and that was really, you know, and I'll tell you, that did a lot for me too, you know. I mean, not style-wise and everything, because, you know, see, really what we were doing when we started WNIO in 1980, you know, when we were doing stuff, we were doing a lot of stuff on WNIO for a small country station that people really weren't doing in the Youngstown radio. You know, me, Gary Z, Boots, you know, we were doing our jamborees. We were doing, you know, I mean, we were doing stuff that bigger stations weren't doing in Youngstown at the time. And we brought that all there. So by the time we, you know, 1988 rolled around, from 1980 to 1988, we were kind of practicing for that. We were getting ready, you know, we were doing the jamboree in the Ridge and the country jams at the Mahoning Country Club and the Parlor. I mean, you know, the Parlor, you know, Lou Cox and Dolly, they were legends, man. And, you know, that used to be one of the craziest places to party.
Awesome.
And you know, like we had mentioned earlier that we were talking about, you know, we would do those all-day jamborees. It would be your dad's band. It would be Bill and the Detours. It would be Ellen Shane. It would be Windy Bill. It would be Bill Skinner.
It's so funny. I know all the guys.
Oh, no, I figured. That's why, you know, when you came in, I figured, well, because we go back a long time, you know, but, you know, those have always been such fond memories of mine back in the country days because, well, first of all, me and Z, you know, we were young guys at the time. We were just barely like old enough to drink, but what really set us apart though, you know, because we were diehard rockers, MMS and all that stuff, and the Wizard and Tomorrow Club and every band and everything, and we took those elements of rock radio programming and we brought it to country radio. You know, we were a little bit ahead of our times, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, we were bringing that kind of stuff in, and you know, and then when we just started, you know, doing all the jamborees in the Ridge and all our, you know, country jams here and there and everything, and then we were doing, you know, supporting all the shows at Packard Music Hall back in the day. I'm sure you remember Packard Music Hall, you know, in Ponderosa Park, and but the thing with me and Z, even though we were young guys, we really absorbed all that music at a young age. We weren't like posers, we weren't phonies, we weren't fakes about it. You know, I mean, you know, we really had an appreciation for George Jones. You know, we really had an appreciation for Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn and Tammy Wynette and everything. We weren't fakes about it. We weren't posers or anything. You know, we lived out all them Hank Williams songs, you know. That's why Women I Never Had and Family Tradition. And, you know, I mean, we lived out them songs.
Preach it, man, preach it.
You know, when I listen to Willie Nelson's song "Me and Paul," Me and Paul, I think that's me and Z, really, you know. And then of course we called ourselves the Good Old Boys, and you know, you're fashioned after Mo Bandy and Joe Stampley and Waylon Jennings with the Good Old Boys for the Dukes of Hazzard.
Like the Good Old Boys too?
What's that?
I thought Boots was like...
Yeah, he was with us. Yeah. Except, you know, he kind of backed off the good old boy thing a little bit because he, you know, he felt that it didn't really fit him. And he thought it was more me and Z, but we billed us all as the good old boys. Yeah. But, you know, Boots was kind of like...
Well, Boots was like, if I remember right, like Boots was in the Korean War, man. He got stabbed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, he got stabbed. He got the Purple Heart, if I remember right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I talked to Boots for a little bit, and I remember him... Man, did he tell me he got like is it a bayonet or something in the knee?
Yeah.
Or something?
Oh,
like
yeah.
that? I'm not kidding. I'm a big Boots Bell fan.
Oh, who isn't?
You know, he was just, You know, he was like Elvis Presley to me.
Oh, yeah.
And when I met him, I was like, you know, a little kid, man. He was just awesome.
Oh, the guy was bigger than life.
Yeah.
The voice, the posture, the look, the dress, the presence.
Yeah.
You know, you know, that's what, you know, like I say, when me and Z, you know, he was still, you know, leaning a little bit to the old school, and me and Z had new ideas coming up. So it wasn't like, you know, everything we did was Boots, but like for motivation, showmanship especially, number one. Showmanship, attitude, and things like that. Okay, I mean, like, you go back, you know, I'm like 21, 22 years old, and I mean, if you're doing a remote or if you're on stage with Boots Bell, you know what, you better bring something. You better have something, or you're not going to have anything, you know? And, you know, I mean, I got tons of pictures of like me and Boots just emceeing things together and being on remotes and everything like that. So it wasn't really like he was, you know, an influence, not in an influence like, oh, I heard Boots Bell and I had to be on the radio, you know? But I mean, in other ways, you know, he was an influence in different ways, you know.
Like in New York or something.
Yeah, in Fredonia or Dunkirk, one of those cities up there.
Yeah, I remember him telling me, like, I think he started out in New York. I think he told me.
Yeah. And then he come to Youngstown and just took this city by storm.
Did, man. So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, get him in there, man.
Yeah,
it's like 40 minutes down the road, dude. Come on.
Yeah, you know, I think it's the 25th anniversary of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame coming up this week. So who are you guys picks that you think should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that have been shunned all this time?
I would say Boots Bell.
Okay.
I know we're talking about.
Yeah, we got to get the Booter in there.
This is a heart attack. Boots Bell should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Are you kidding me? He's not in. Are you kidding me?
Or at least, you know, or they should probably have a category of a DJ category of, because, you know, there was other Boots Bells out there that took their city by storm, you know, and it had the look, that had the feel, that had the presence, that just had everything that was perfect to go along with the way the music was evolving. You know, something brand new, and then you got this cat come out there and he'd be wearing like an Australian bush hat and a sports coat that looked like, you know, somebody's seat covers or something, and he'd have them boots on and that cane and have a pipe and everything, and you look at this guy and he'd go, damn, you know, and then the voice and the posture. To give you an idea how Boots was, I was, you know, when my daughter was born, and so first of all, Boots sent out this flower arrangement to the hospital that was probably like 4 feet wide, 4 feet long, and this wide, and so he comes up to visit. And, you know, he comes walking in the hospital and they go, I'm sorry, sir, no visitors are allowed. And he goes, you know, madam, I'm Boots Bell and I'm here to see my friend's new baby. And then, you know, they go, well, you can't come in. And then all of a sudden a couple of the doctors, you know, peek their head around. They're like, holy shit, it's Boots Bell. And the next thing you know, he's in there, right? Okay, and so now here's my wife laying there in bed, and there's Boots and like 50 people gathered around him, and you know, he's just holding court in the room, you know, and he would always give you know, the young guys, if they had kids, he would always give them, it was like an Indian tradition to give moccasins with tobacco in it that I still have to this day. But everybody would walk in and they would just see this huge bouquet, and they go, where did that come from? And it was from Boots, you know, and it was just like, that's just the kind of guy he was.
Yeah. Do you know how he got his nickname? Did he wear like a certain sort of...
You know what? I have never asked how he got his nickname. I mean, out of all those years, you know, it's just...
to be a reason. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to
somebody
ask...
could write on your thing how Boots got his nickname.
I'm just gonna have to ask his son Chris.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm you know, me and his son and daughter are like family.
Oh,
you know.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, but you know what? It's funny you should ask that, because I never said, well, how'd you come up with the name?
Yeah.
Well, I know somebody did ask him at one time in an interview, and he gave them such a bullshit story that it wasn't even funny. He said that some lumberjacks, when he was growing up, you know.
Let's get the boots on.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, maybe that's why. You better put them on because some of the stories, you know, that he would tell. But see, that was the thing. Well, you know what? It was like what it was back in that era. That's how them guys were. Even if you go back and if you look at some early biographies of, say, like Jerry Garcia, you know, if you look at some of the early biographies, you know, the bio sheets that like Bob Dylan would put out. I ran away with a kid at the circus and stuff. There was a certain element of bullshit that, you know, that Ralph Bellino might have been born to a barber in Cleveland, but Boots Bell was born to a French-Canadian mother and an Indian father in the far reaches of Michigan and the Canadian border, and he got the nickname Boots when the lumberjacks gave him his first little pair of boots because he helped them chop down a tree, you know. And but see, that's the way the thing was back in that day. You know, you didn't just sit there and say, you know, are you Alice Cooper or are you Vincent Fanier? You know, it's the same thing. And, you know, and especially back then, that was really a thing and that people didn't realize. And that's why he would pull out some stories, but he also had the truth, you know. And then sometimes some of the things that you would have thought was a bullshit was real, and then some of the other stuff was crazy. But he was definitely a one-of-a-kind character.
I just want everyone to know that Broken Reins loves Boots Bell.
Oh, who doesn't, man?
We love Boots Bell.
Well, his family is putting together a documentary on his life. And I know I'm in it, and Gary Z is in it, Frank Sesich, a lot of the different bands from back in the day. I can't wait for that thing to come out because, first of all, I don't know how they're going to edit it because so many people that have worked with him and had so many stories. And, you know, Thomas John had a million stories.
What is Thomas John up to?
He's kind of on furlough right now, you know.
Kick of the Flicks, man. I remember that.
Oh,
hey, Thomas, if you're listening, this is Thomas John. Kick of the Flicks.
Yeah.
Man.
And then they get back to the 4 o'clock high and the midnight album. And
awesome.
You know, that's another thing we were talking about growing up, you know, back in the radio days. Remember when the Wizard would count down like the top 20 albums of the year, and you would sit there with your cassette player next to the radio, and then you would sit there and go, oh, I got Steve Miller, you know, Book of Dreams on cassette that I recorded right off the radio. You know?
Absolutely. You know, my house was such a country scene.
Yeah.
You know, with my dad being Gearheart or whatever, how I heard like rock and roll was from the Wizard. You know, Thomas John, you know, if I remember right, like WSRD would play full albums.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They would play full albums.
Yeah, CD 106, we would do that too. Every night we would do the midnight album side, midnight album. We'd play the whole album, you know, at midnight, and you just let it fly. It was
awesome.
It was really something.
Play an artist's whole piece of work. That's just exactly how we envisioned it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, it's all kind of crazy stuff like that. Yeah. Well, we're talking with Wayne and Scott from Broken Reins. You guys, you want to play another one?
Sure.
Okay.
And don't forget to go to Facebook and punch in Broken Reins. And and if you want to book our band, man, just message us, and Wayne will respond to you with a reasonable price.
Tell him you want the Boots Bell discount. Tell me you're a friend of Boots Bell. You might get a soft spot.
Boots Bell family, if you guys need anything, man, just give Broken Reins a call. We're there for you.
Chris and Leslie, two of the greatest people I know.
Yeah.
Awesome people.
All right. I could use a shot of whiskey. Roll me up a little smoke. Have a nice cold beer now. It brings a little bit of hope. Find a redneck woman just squeezing on me tight. But today it's only Monday. Wish it was Saturday night. Saturday night, we'll 10 feet tall, thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is joining in the desert to the honky-tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, oh, it's 5 days away, cause the day it's only Monday. Preach him the word, Wayne, come on.
Go on, brother.
12-hour 8 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
An ex-wife and a boyfriend, and 4 kids to feed. I could use a vacation, but my money's run dry. Raise hell on the weekends, on Saturday night.
Saturday night, we'll 10 feet tall, thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is jumping in the desert to the honky tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, Lord, it's 5 days away, 'cause the day it's only Monday. Sunday's gone, but Monday came on strong. Tuesday's slow, and Wednesday's gotta go. Thursdays and Friday's payday. Saturday, it's time to play.
Damn.
Saturday night, we're 10 feet tall, thinking that I'm bulletproof. Saturday night, when the joint is jumping in the desert to the honky tonk blues. It's alright, I got money in my pocket. Friday was a payday. Saturday night, Lord, it's 5 days away, 'cause the day it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday. You're so far away. Today it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday. So far away. Today it's only Monday.
Damn. That was good, man. That was good. I don't know if it was, what was that, the Wild Buffalo Bourbon and the Christmas Ale in the middle of September, but damn, that was good, man.
Thank
You
you,
got
man.
Wayne and Scott here from Broken Reins, boy, that was awesome. Now, we were talking about, now, when you first started playing, when was the first time you played in front of people where you really felt blood? Like, it's like, man, I think I got something going here.
You know, the first time I played, I was playing the Neal Middle School talent show, you know, and you know how like musicians say you get nervous, like when, like, say, like Paul McCartney was just sitting there staring at you. Well, my dad has that same effect on me. You know, it's Dick Gearheart. It's
Right.
like, you know, you're Dick Gearhart's son. He's just sitting there looking at you. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-oh. But anyways, me and my cousin Paul Sheehan, you can check out his band too. He's in Muddy Cadillac.
Good dude.
But yeah, real good dude.
Well, we're going to get him on, too.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got to, yeah.
But me and Paul, we, you know, because we were my dad's fans, we all had matching shirts, you know, like the thing. And I thought a lead guitar player had to have a big, like, what do you call that? Charlie Daniels hat, like a David Allen Coe hat.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So you can see the
10-gallon
picture.
hat,
I got a
yeah.
big cowboy. And I told my dad, I remember telling my dad, I need a hat, Dad. I'm a guitar player. He's like, no problem. Boom, you know. he went and got it. So we went up there. We went to stand Freddie, and me and my cousin Paul got so nervous they brought out like a stool for us. I didn't know that my knees would shake, you know. And so we got to sit down and we played "Evil Ways" by Santana.
Oh.
So that was the first song I played live.
Yeah.
And then Ringo had a version of what's that song that goes, "You come on like a dream."
At 16, you're beautiful in your mind.
Yeah. Which isn't probably correct anymore, right?
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's
yeah.
politically
Right,
correct.
you know, look at the Beatles. She was just 17, if you know what
it's
I
like,
mean.
uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, let's cut that
It's
lyric.
okay, Jerry.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was my first time. How about you, Wayne?
Well, I remember the first time I was practicing with this band, and they needed a new singer, and I had 3 weeks to learn all the material. And back then, I used to remember things way better. So
Yeah.
the day before the show, I got sick. I had laryngitis, I had the flu, I'm sweating, I'm drinking tea, sweating bullets, and they said, "How are you gonna make it? How are you gonna make it?" And I couldn't talk. And I said, "I think I'm gonna be there no matter what. And I've been waiting for this forever."
Yeah.
So I went out that night, and I remember my voice, my voice was okay, came back, was able to sing. But I remember that first song, I had such a quiver in my voice. I was so scared. And the bass player in that band there came over, gave me a shot. I don't even know what it was now. And he says, "This will help you." Yeah.
Shot of courage, baby.
And I'm like, I might need more of that. But I'll never forget that night though, because it was just the response from the people.